All right, so I think this is about the right time. We're gonna start the stream. I'm gonna put this on a time stamp right here. Hold on, let me just make sure the mic is working right here. And then we'll get right on the 9-minute mark. We're going to start the show, okay? All right, mic check 1 2. All right, mic check 1 2. Okay, perfect. Okay, so all right, mic check 1 2. All right, okay, perfect. We are live right now, and we've got some interesting topics to talk about. Marty Miller says on the grind early, my man. That's right, man. You know how it is. Well, you know, Muslims, we wake up for morning prayer. We do that, and it's a good way to start the day. Milky John says hello. Hello, how are you guys, man? You know, very glad to be back here. And we've got some new news on the chronicles of Raja Jackson, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. For a long time during this particular case, I honestly believe that Raja Jackson was not going to be arrested. I didn't think that he was going to be arrested, and I'm going to give you several reasons why I don't think he was going to get arrested, okay? One of the reasons why I never thought Raja could get arrested is because I've seen people get beat down in the United States across New York, New Jersey, Baltimore, Ohio, California, in particular California, because this is the relevance to this particular case. There's guys that get beat up every day. There's guys that handle their business every day, and nothing happens because nobody cooperates and nobody is speaking to the police, right? So I guess in that case you could say that this is a reason why arrests don't happen, because there's just not enough people that come forward with certain situations, right? With this case, Doug Malo. Do you guys know who Doug Malo is? Well, he's the gentleman that's on the thumbnail that is stopping Raja, right? The long-haired gentleman. He was one of the wrestlers that tried to stop Raja from beating up Stu. So he talked to LAPD, and then he talked about it on a podcast. Okay, well, let me just preface this by playing the actual podcast itself, right, regarding this particular topic. Milky John says, okay. All right, so let's see here. Doug Malo. By the way, before all of this happened with Doug Malo, by the way, the name is the Scaling Up podcast, okay? Before Doug Malo. All right, so super last. Before Doug Malo dealt with this situation, he had maybe like 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers on his page, on his YouTube page. Now he's up to 9,000. Okay, now you want to talk about, you know, an instant boost. Doug Malo got an instant boost out of this, in which that he cannot deny. But also, look, let's listen to this podcast, because welcome to episode 35 of the Scaling Up podcast. Because this right here is going to give you an indication of exactly what is happening and why Raja Jackson is going to get arrested, based on the conversation that Doug Malo had with LAPD, okay? From last week, kind of talk about. Mars says, "What's good, my man? What's good, my man? We have some updates on this particular matter, okay? And I honestly believe that Raja is going to get locked up. At first, I didn't think that it was going to happen, but after this conversation, I'm a little bit more convinced, leaning towards the other side, that he could get arrested, and you need to hear this to know exactly why.
New updates. So first things first, Raja Jackson has not been arrested yet. And Doug, you've been talking to detectives. So what can you tell us from those conversations that you've had?
So here it is, right? Doug has been talking to the detectives. And by the way, for those of you that don't know Doug, let me give you guys a visual, right? It's this gentleman right here, okay? This gentleman right here, this Viking-looking gentleman right here is the subject matter at hand that we are discussing right now. So he was the one that tried to stop Raja Jackson from attacking Stu. So Fresh Melon Juice says, because he almost murdered a man. Okay, so do you guys know who Wes Watson is? If anybody knows who Wes Watson is, hit the one button on the chat if you guys know who he is. What's the video called? The video is called Doug Malo Confirms Raja Jackson is Getting Arrested, and it is from the Scaling Up podcast. So that is the yes, that is the okay. So Wes Watson is a social media influencer, right? He was a prisoner who got locked up. I don't know what he got locked up for. I don't know much about the guy either, other than he's an influencer, right? Mars says, yeah, I know Wes. He beat up some guy in the gym. No? Yes. Yes. And Mars, I'm going to pin your comment down. That's the first comment that's pinned today. And the reason why I pinned your comment is because after that beatdown, Mars, it literally took Miami PD or whatever jurisdiction was responsible for that incident, literally 2 months before they could make an arrest with Wes Watson. And Marty Miller says he used a weapon as well. Yeah, he used what I believe was his weightlifting belt, right? He took off his weightlifting belt and then, basically smashed it. Let me give a visual of the WWE belt here, just so we can, get a wrestling, theme going on here, right? So, yes, he used a weapon, Marty Miller, and that's even worse than Raja Jackson. Wouldn't you agree? It's worse. And then Fresh Melon Juice says Raja is MMA trained. Yeah, that's worse too, but not as worse as Wes using an actual weapon that, I mean, a weapon is a weapon. Look, man, I could get whipped with a strap all day. For me, it would not hurt as much as Khabib raining down ground and pound punches on me, or better yet, Brock Lesnar or Khamzat, unless, of course, you're Drickus. But everybody else gets ground and pounded to death by Khamzat, and there's no way around that. But other than that, yeah, it's a weapon. So Fallen Leaf says LAPD is notoriously slow. Oh yeah, right. I mean, the Biggie case. Let's talk about that, right? You want to talk about slow and the slow moving parts that are, known for that. Raja will get arrested in time. Yeah. So this interview right here, this podcast, absolutely convinced me of that, because let me tell you, man, I'm first of all, I'm gonna make no bones about it. I'm Team Raja, right? Just like how professional wrestlers look out for their guys and the people in their brotherhood, we as MMA people, we look out for our fellow brothers that have fought in the cage and this, that, and the other, even if they are our ops or they are our, top enemy, or, or something like that, or our top opponent or our upcoming opponent, right? We're always going to side with the MMA guy when it comes to outsiders, just like pro wrestlers. So, Doug Malo, let's hear what he has to say and what LAPD detectives have informed him of these situations. And I'm going to mark that comment right there by Fallen Leaves. Yes, because LAPD is notoriously slow. And he said that Raja will get arrested in time. And that is unfortunate for those that do support Raja. And let's get to it.
Any updates? Will Raja Jackson be arrested from what you're hearing?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a doubt in my mind. Everything's on tape, on video. It's premeditated.
Okay, so this is where I sort of have a problem with this, right? The first question asked by the host of the Scaling Up podcast to Doug, will he get arrested? And then Doug vehemently comes out and says, well, There is no doubt in my mind. Well, you should have doubt in your mind because the law doesn't necessarily work with definitive things unless it's the actual date of the jury's choice and what the jury's selection, what the jury's decision is on top of the evidence that has already been presented to court. Now, obviously, none of those things have happened yet, so you must always remain skeptical until the time being. Mars says, I don't think we should support people because of our own personal biases. Mars, you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right. We should not support people based on our biasness, but at the same time, we also have to be very honest about where we stand on certain things, right? Fresh Melon Juice says, it's a habit for minorities. You know what? I tell you what, Fresh Melon Juice, that is true, okay? You know what, Fresh? I think a lot of minorities who are reading what you said right now would absolutely be offended by what you said, okay? Me, not included. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it is true. It is true. You say that it's a habit for minorities. I think that, pin it. Oh, which one? The comment with Fresh? Okay, so I'm going to pin that. Now, look, I agree with that statement. Now, do I like that statement? No, there's two differences that we have to understand here, right? I agree with that statement because it's factually true based on the anecdotal experience that I've had, on top of the fact that, well, look, let me just put it like this, right? The difference between white boys and minorities when it comes to, let's say, dealing with parents, right? I've often noticed that in the minority community, if a parent was somewhat abusive or somewhat very verbally verbally condescending or things of this nature, or just overall dismissive, right? And then they had a bad upbringing, right? I want you to reference this, okay? The Tupac song Dear Mama. Dear Mama, you always was, even though you was a crack fiend, mama, you always was a black queen, mama. Versus Eminem, I'm cleaning out my closet. Yeah, I'm cleaning out my closet. And what does Eminem rap about? He says that, I don't want my daughter to even see you at your funeral. Now, if you look at Eminem's past, okay, and what he went through with his parents, it is indefensible, the things that Eminem's mom has done to him. And what does he do? He doesn't go out and defend his mom in any kind of way. He tells it like it is, right? Whereas with Tupac, okay, his mom was a crack fiend, which means that she probably spent his life savings, okay, probably wasn't able to, afford to go to that Baltimore School of Arts, at a certain time. He probably had to leave that place because they couldn't afford it. So she's still, a queen to your eyes. You see what I'm saying? So it's true. It's a tribe mentality, Marty Miller says. Mars says, I think everyone, TBH, what does TBH mean? Yeah, I do it too sometimes, but I don't think it's right. Correct, yeah. Marty Miller says, perfect Eminem impression, LOL. Man, you've been a long time Eminem fan. I think that if you listen to his music long enough, yeah, you would know. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But I hope that kind of explains, the mentality of some people when it comes to these types of subject matters at hand. O.J. Simpson, for example. Look, man, when was the O.J. Simpson case? 93, 94. So I was about 8 or 9 years old. Was the first time that I really learned about American race relations in my face. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I mean by that. When I went to elementary school in Union, New Jersey, shout out to Union, New Jersey, in Franklin Elementary, New Jersey, okay, class of 96 elementary year. During the O.J. Simpson case, all the white kids vehemently said that O.J. Simpson was guilty, and they probably learned this from their parents. Guess what? All the black kids, they were all supporting O.J. Simpson, right? So I learned firsthand what tribalism meant, and that right there was the beginning of the race whisperer. You know what I mean? Because I had the white side, the black side, and they gave me their opinion on these matters at hand, and they let me know exactly what America's race relation was going to be for the next coming 30 years at that point. So Mars says, don't you think having lower expectations for race is in? Don't you think having a lower expectation for a race is in it of itself racist? Um, well, okay, understand this, Mars. We all have our own anecdotal experience. This is not in any way to generalize anybody. Now, obviously, there's black folks out there that will call out their parents on being abusive, you know, in the same way that many white people do. Look, I'll tell you this, right? You want to talk about, you know, at the end of your life. One of my first jobs when I first came to California was I worked as a nursing assistant at a hospice. Now, for those of you that don't know what a hospice is, it is literally a facility where people go to die, okay? Where people live out their last days. And let me tell you what I noticed. And by the way, this was in Stockton, okay? Shout out to Stockton 209. You know what I mean? So when I was working in this facility, I noticed that the residents, the majority of the residents and the patients were white. Okay, let me tell you why that's significant. Stockton is not a white town. It's not the way Sacramento is, not the way other parts of California are. Stockton is a Latino and an Asian majority, and even the black folks in Stockton are somewhat of a minority, okay, if you can believe that, right? So the majority of them were white. Why is that? Because let's just say that the boomer generation, they have, man, they, you know, the Gen X and the boomers, in particular, white boomers and white Gen Xers, they just have this clash going on. So it is no wonder they're throwing their elder parents at a nursing home, whereas you look at other minorities in Stockton, right, whether they were Filipino, Cambodian, Mexican, Honduras, and things of that nature, right? They were taking care of their parents at their home, whereas the white kids were, you know, throwing their parents at a residence home by the time they were of a certain age. So yeah, Mars, I get what you're saying. Mars says, I just don't get why we should take it easy on Raja just because we're MMA fans. There's a lot of MMA people that are not in support of Raja, but the reason why I'm in support of Raja, number one, he's a California guy, right? I stand up for all my California guys. Number two, you know, I mean, I've always been a fan of Rampage. I'm not necessarily a fan of Rampage's, you know, parenting style or even his personality. Like, I honestly think like Rampage is somewhat of a bully. I also think that he's a self-hating black man, if you really, you don't want to put it like that. I'm going to tell you why I think he's a self-hating black man. Look, he flat out said that he's going to give his Japanese kids, you know, tuition money, whereas with his black kids, in particular Raja, he was going to save bail money. If that isn't racist in and of itself, right? But, you know, Mumu says Raja shouldn't go to prison. He should be given a one-fight contract to fight Derek Lewis, the knockout king. A little inhumane, don't you think? You're sounding like, yo, where's fresh melon juice with the Pantoja, you know, heavyweights matchup that he always tries to put Pantoja in. That's very similar to that. Raja is a 155 fighter, and obviously Derek Lewis is super heavyweight, right? Super heavyweight when he's not training, when he's not, you know, up for a fight, and a heavyweight on fight day. Raise Again says, are you Muslim? Yes, I am. A shout out to you, Raise Against. This is the first time I've seen you here. Let me know what part of the world you are from. And then he says, hi. Hot Fever says, why is this still a topic? Well, the reason why this is still a topic is because whenever Rampage comes out and says something, he keeps this particular story alive. Also, Doug Malo just came out with a podcast, which I'm going to have you guys listen to, and then you guys are going to hear exactly why I changed my mind in terms of Raja actually going to prison. Now, do I want him to go to prison? No, I don't. I don't, that's just not how I was raised, bro. I'm not raised to go and wish prison upon anybody. Now, if you got a problem with a person, okay, you don't handle it with the cops, at least where I'm from and what I stand for and this and that. That's just not what I do. But the law is the law, and there's nothing that we can do about that if they decide to go and lock him up. So Mars says he should fight Derek Lewis with Mario Yamasaki as a ref. Oh my goodness, man. Y'all crazy for that. Fresh Melon Juice says, okay, hot 5. New topic, the GOP U-turn on the Epstein matter. Now, it's not the Democrats' hoax. It's the worst thing possible with an elite pedos and foreign intelligence. Okay, I will be bringing up that subject at some time, for sure. Ray's says he's in Asia. Okay, let me know what part of Asia you are from. Emmanuel says, this sounds backwards. Raja is grown and you're blaming his dad for his overreacting. You can't be serious. Okay, so check this out, right? Rampage is not the one, let me make this very clear. Rampage is not the one who beat up Stu, okay? That is 100% agreed upon with rational-minded people. That is a fact. He's not the one that did it. Now, is Rampage responsible for creating a monster? And the answer is yes. You're not. There is no debate about that. I have seen fathers like Rampage Jackson from the hood. Look, here's a complicated matter of this, right? Rampage Jackson is a California fighter. I'm going to ride and die with him. For those people that are threatening him online, that are, you know, sending racist jokes and or just, you know, threatening his life and his family. Listen, bro, if you ran across me, I'm going to defend Rampage. By any means necessary, I'm going to defend Rampage. But it doesn't mean that I don't think that he's a bad father. So let's understand that, right? For those of you that may not understand nuances, number one, I think Rampage is a bad father, and I don't care if he goes and fights me for that. I'm going to tell him exactly why, you know, fighting me or beating me up or getting beat up by me is not going to change that reality. The other reality is that Rampage is a California guy, and I'm going to back him up based on that alone. But I'm still going to tell him, dog, listen, I'm going to come save your life if your family comes and, you know, and gets, I don't know, kidnapped or, you know, or ransomed or this and that. I'm going to ride for him. But I'm still going to tell him, you're a bad father because of the fact that you talk to your son in a way that, you know, as if he's your homie. Not even your homie. I don't even talk to my homies in the way that Rampage does with the level of disrespect that he puts on him. So it is no wonder that Raja has become a menace to society as a result of that. Mars says, issues is he's a danger to other people if he roams free. You know what? You could be right, but I don't know if we're the people to really make that assessment. Now, once again, we have to wait for what LAPD does, but we're going to listen to this interview, and I think you're going to be convinced that even if you're already convinced that Raja was going to go to prison, this is going to be, you know, the final nail in, you know, in the construction site. You know, okay, I just made up my own terms here. What did Marty Miller here says? Do you think the turn is due to all the criticism fresh? What is that in reference to? Oh, do you think the turn is all... Oh, okay, in reference to a lot of people asking for the Epstein files and, yeah, okay. Rise Again says ancient civilization. Rise Again says Raja shouldn't be in prison. You know what? So here's the thing, right? If you ever want to ask whether somebody, you know, deserves prison time or this and that, my answer is always going to be no. Okay, and the reason why I'm going to tell you that my answer is going to be no is because well... How do I say this? I come from an honor culture, right? In an honor culture, you do not go and involve the cops in your own issues, right? In that term, and in that sense, you could say that I am, I guess you could say that I'm a real Republican in that sense because, you know, it's literally the act of small government, right? You don't want the government involved, right? It is a Republican mentality where you don't want the government involved in anything that you do. And that also includes conflict that you have with other people. That is what an honor culture is. If you come from that, you understand. If you don't know, it's not for you to know. But if you do know and understand, then I think you know where I'm getting at. Fresh Melon Juice says, probably, I don't know. They all lied to Trump, Cash, JD Vance, Pam, Bongino, Presses, etc. It's disgusting. Worst humans in the world of politicians. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of people right now that are kind of calling Trump a fascist based on the certain choices that he's made in, you know, deploying the National Guard to Washington, D.C. Now he's threatening to send National Guards in Chicago. L.A. is next, and I mean, yeah, man, anarchy is liberal, Mars says. Defund the police is left, Democrat, yes. So, okay, let's listen to what Doug has to say here, and you guys decide if Raja Jackson is going to prison. And I think I've made up my mind just with this assessment alone, knowing that he is going. So, Fresh Melon Juice says that part of Trump is great. Which part? The part that he's, well, many people are sort of arguing that it is a bit fascist, right? Like, whatever happened to the America that allowed the state to govern their own sovereignty, right? That is the beauty of America, is that if I don't like the gun laws in California, I can go to Nevada, go shoot guns in an open carry state, or go to the South and do that, right? Or if you don't like liberal laws in California, right? You don't like the certain education that people have. You can either go homeschool your children, or you can take your children to a school at a bordering state. There are bordering towns in California that border Oregon or border Nevada or maybe even Arizona, right? Where, yeah, you can sort of like, you know, bring your kid to a different school jurisdiction if you wish, but those are, you know, just niche group of people that are in bordering towns like that in California. Fresh Melon Juice says cleaning cities. Yeah, I think that Trump is trying to make America look presentable during the Olympics, because the Olympics in 2028 is coming to Los Angeles, right? It would not look good if all these athletes from around the world are getting extorted by local Bloods and Crips, Sureños and Norteños from, you know, the north. I don't think they operate much in the Southern California area, but, you know, one never knows. But yes, that is the clear motivation of Trump, is to clean the streets of criminals, because there is an Olympics event coming in 2028, and he has to think fast in order to make America great again. So, Fresh Melon Juice says they are cleaning out criminals. Stop pretending they're doing something else. So here's the thing, right? It is very anti-American to a federal government that does not allow the state to govern its own sovereign rights as they see fit. Okay, that is a fundamental constitutional ideology. Fresh Melon Juice says children are supposed to be able to walk to school without being assaulted. I agree with that. But going about it another way, in a fascist way, in a way that sort of oversteps the authorities of the local authorities, I think is, you know, very un-American. Mars says there is no honor in lawlessness. Well, very, very true. But it just depends on who you are and how you grew up. So what should Stu do to get back his honor? Go after Raja? That is up to Stu, right? I know that lawyers are in the ears of Stu right now, and he's not going to get anything out of Raja, to be honest with you, right? Because if there's anybody that he's going to sue, it's going to be Raja, and you're not going to get anything out of Raja. So at least not for a very long time. And then when you do get that, it's going to be a very small check to which he can't really do anything with that. So, but let's hear what Doug Malo has to say here.
Meditated. Just LAPD tends to drag their feet. So the detective asked me a bunch of questions. I even asked about my implications, you know, just because it's, you know, you're involved and whatnot. And he goes, no, there's nothing to worry about. Like, you're just trying to get compliance. Everything was towards Elijah. He asked a couple other questions about the other videos involved with the people in the back and this and that. Not for implications, just because he's just trying to get information. You know, he's building a solid case. I say a lot. So there's that.
I cut it out, don't worry.
Oh, thank you.
I like how they have a little banter going on here, even with having such a serious conversation like this, right? So, you know, it's good to see, you know, these guys in good and high spirits, even with talking about something as tragic as this. But, you know, shout outs to Doug Malo, man. You guys go give him a follow, right? He's obviously blowing up now. He had 2,000 subscribers before the wrestling match incident happened, and now he's up to 9,000. God bless him, man. You know what? Like, I think, look, here's the thing, right? Even though I'm in support of Raja, even though I'm in support of his father and, you know, any MMA fighters or people from California and things of that nature, you know, I think that Doug absolutely deserves all the good things that are coming to him based on these situations. So shout outs to Doug Malo, you know, with his, you know, Viking look he's got going on. Renegade Brand says, Jeffrey Dahmer shouldn't have been in prison. Where is his honor? Jeffrey Dahmer, why should Jeffrey Dahmer not be in prison, Renegade Brand? Let me know what your reason is behind that.
Yeah, say it as much as you want.
Yeah, perfect. So I talked to a detective friend of mine.
Pause real quick. People, it's rubbing off on me, but people were like, oh, why is there so many jump cuts? What did you cut out? Well, it's literally, if you watch Doug's other podcasts, you'll know.
Yeah, that's so good. Doug.
You know how it's Seth freaking Rollins? He should be Doug Malo.
Yeah, I like that. I'm Doug.
I like that. He said Seth freaking Rollins, then there's Doug Malo. I like that. That's good. That's good. I like that.
Malo. Yeah, Doug, I think.
All right, this is a serious topic, though.
Okay, yeah, so, it's so good. The detective I talked to outside of the case, just asked him about formalities, what I should look at, what not to look at. He was saying that this is just how LAPD works. They drag their feet. So they're building the case right now. They get all the evidence. The state's going to pick it up because there's so many people. So
Renegade says, you just said cop interference doesn't exist in honor culture. Yes, I stand on that, Renegade Brand, yes.
So many witnesses. Heck, even my little brother saw it. My girlfriend, my mom, all the kids that saw it, all the people there. So that right there, they have the evidence enough to try the case. And then what they're trying to figure out is what level of premeditation is, from my understanding, is why he's trying to figure out what conversations took place, what conversations mean. You know, he was asking me what specific terms mean exactly, you know, and like what they mean to the person they're telling them to.
Thankfully for live streaming, they have a lot of that to look at.
It's so there, you know, and I don't want to speculate. I don't want to, you know, say anything else because it's all there.
I do want to draw a parallel. There was a situation, I don't know how many wrestling fans are aware of it, earlier this year.
He said, so Jeffrey Dahmer shouldn't be in prison under your worldview. That is entirely inaccurate. Jeffrey Dahmer should be unalived. How about that, right? Like, if I saw Jeffrey Dahmer in the streets, I can't even explain to you what I would do to him because it would get the channel banned. Let's just put it like that. Fresh Melon Juice says, without honor culture, the weak people like women can say no to men. Without honor culture, the weak people like women can say no to men. Elaborate on that a little bit, Fresh Melon Juice.
Here with this guy named Wes Watson. If you guys watch John Bravo, you know what I'm talking about.
By the way, when I referenced Wes Watson earlier, this is exactly the reason why I referenced Wes Watson earlier, was because of what this gentleman right here had just said, okay?
about where he beat up the 7-foot monster, and he wasn't arrested on the spot. It ended up taking several months for the arrest.
So what Wes Watson, it took several months for Wes Watson to get arrested. So this is kind of where I'm referencing this particular incident right here.
Happened.
That was in Florida.
That was in Miami, yeah, where I would assume they get shit done faster than LAPD. So just because it hasn't happened yet, I still expect.
He said you assume that they do it way faster than LAPD. Maybe, but Miami and LA are both big cities, so the slowness of their investigation, I think, is just predicated on the number of cases that they have. And then on top of that, listen, man, there's just low recruitment for the police force right now. And with low recruitment means you got low amount of people that are going after special jobs such as special victims unit, you know, certain crimes of assault, domestic cases, specialties, homicide, specialties, attempted murder, specialties, things of that nature. So if the police force, just based on patrol alone, you know, has a difficult time, you know, recruiting, then yeah, definitely they're going to have a hard time recruiting for detectives. Renegade Brand says, laughing my ass off. So you want the states to break into countless tribes without a centralized enforcement system. Do you realize how stupid that sounds? That's what your honor culture effectively is. So, okay, Renegade Brand, let me explain something to you, right? When you said that the states to break into countless tribes, it is already embedded in the Constitution of America as to say that each of these states have their own sovereign rights and how they're going to conduct their laws, what kind of laws they're going to pass. There's federal laws and then there's state laws for a reason in America. Okay, there is a reason why the forefathers of America has designed it that way, because there's the federal government who encompasses the entire apparatus of America, and then there's the states that are given their own sovereign rights. For example, in Washington state, and when I mean Washington, I don't mean Washington, D.C., I mean up north of California in the West Coast, where Demetrius Johnson lives, shout out to DJ Mighty Mouse, there is a mutual combat law up there, okay? If me and you wanted to scrap, all we got to do is, if the cop is right there, the cop plays Herb Dean. Okay, that is their right in Washington state to do that. Now, obviously in California, there is no mutual combat law, but that is California's right. And if we decide that we want to change those laws and say, hey, we want mutual combat laws, guess what we're going to do? We're going to talk to lawmakers, people that write laws or present the laws to, you know, Congress and Senate, and say, hey, we want a mutual combat law, and then as a state, we decide whether that's going to happen or not, or whatever the powers may be. So it's not that I want, you know, some sort of like countless tribes without a centralized, you know, enforcement system. The centralized enforcement system encompasses the whole country, but the Constitution allows the states to have their own God-given rights. For example, here in California, with your gun, if you're a licensed gun carrier, the most clips that you can carry is 10, right? Whereas in Texas, it's probably unlimited. Maybe you're allowed to have 16 clips in your chamber, right? So Lovebug says, good day, my friend. May I ask some advice for my amateur Muay Thai debut? Sure, absolutely, my man. Yeah, please. I love fight questions, yeah, or, you know, fighter-related questions. So if you would like to ask that, yeah, please, Lovebug, you know, go, you know, go where your heart desires of what questions you would like to ask, and inshallah, in hopes that I can answer it to the best of my ability. Renegade says, one, there's a thing called state government cannot do, the federal government intervenes. The Civil War, for example. Okay, Fresh Melon Juice says the blue states are not implementing laws. Okay, well, that is subject to interpretation, right? Obviously, in Trump's interpretation, the way that he's looking at Chicago, the way that he's looking at Los Angeles, there is no oversight that is satisfactory to his standards. Okay, and as president, you could say that Trump has the right to do that. Now, do I necessarily agree with it? Not so much, right? Because I don't want to live in a country where a federal government has to intervene in places that the state government is already, is already implementing what it is that they need to implement to the best of their abilities, right? In other words, it's kind of like a teenager, right? The federal government is the father and the state government is the teenager. Sometimes you got to let the teenagers make their own mistakes to find their own way. Now, with Gavin Newsom, I don't like the fact that he's allowing a lot of homelessness to, fester in California. But then in the other side of that, he's now, what do you call it? Relocating a lot of these homeless people into different places just so he can clean up LA in order to create a different atmosphere for the upcoming Olympics. So Renegade says, you are speaking from your own honor worldview, and there's a gazillion different such views. Okay. Renegade says, you aren't speaking from any state, laughing my ass off. Every state would have Raja in prison, but your honor system is literally against that. Well, listen, this is why we're playing this interview right here. Not so fast, because I did come to the opinion yesterday and days before that Raja will be free, right? Because it's already been 10 days. It's now 11 days, right? But this interview right here with Doug Malo is starting to make me second guess whether he's going to get arrested or not. And I'm leaning towards the side right now where he is going to get arrested, just based on some of the things that Doug Malo has talked about with the detectives that came and interviewed him. So Lovebug says, how do I overcome my nervousness, and is it bad to fornicate 2 weeks before the fight? Serious question. Some said avoid it, but some others say it's a myth. So here's the thing, Lovebug, right? I think that if in questions to intimacy before combat, right? I don't think that it necessarily affects your body as much, but there is a focus factor that I think you would like to farm. I think there's a focus factor that would help if you don't do it, is what I'm saying, right? I think there is a focus factor to that, because if you get addicted to the certain act of what we're talking about, it could place your mind in a different realm than having to switch on that combat mode, right? So as far as your nervousness, you're never going to get over it, okay? The reason why you're never going to get over it is because your body knows and anticipates that a certain level of pain is going to come your way. But also understand this, right? Just understand that what your training has been doing to you in the past couple of weeks, past couple of months, is already going to show up at the fight, and you just got to let your body do the talking. So I hope that helps in any kind of way of understanding, mental clarity. The best way to overcome nervousness is understanding that nervousness will never go away. So I hope that makes sense. Fresh Melon Juice says, if you have a junior manager failing at his job at your company, you let him go on destroying your company? Got it. No, not necessarily. Well, here's the thing, Fresh, right? We're talking about, what you're talking about is a private company. A private company can operate in a way that is best suited for their best interests. Now, a federal government, it's not as simple and as easy as that. And in particular, a state government is not easy and as simple as comparing it to a private company. Lovebug says mental clarity. Got it. Thanks, I'm assuming you're trying to say the N-word with a term of endearment, I'm assuming. Oh, my brother. I think you're trying to say my brother. Okay, sorry, I see the N there, but I think you made an error. by actually trying to say my brother. I got it. Okay. Renegade Brand says, but according to your honor system, a centralized law enforcement agency simply shouldn't take any action, period. So the laws of the state and country have become irrelevant. No, that's not what I'm saying at all, Renegade. What I'm saying is that historically, America has a system where the laws of the state, govern its own sovereign rights, right? Now, look, this particular situation is very complicated because Trump is right. There is a lot of lawlessness going on in these states that he's mentioning about targeting, Chicago, LA in particular. I understand his reasoning behind the action, but is it right under the due process of law and what we understand law to be in terms of allowing the state government to operate in the way that they see fit, right? That's just kind of where I see it. Renegade says, you just said that no one should be imprisoned in your honor system. What I meant by that is, if anybody is going to be imprisoned, it's not going to be under my testimony. Okay, that's what I mean, right? I'm never going to put anyone in prison based on my own testimony. Now, if you want to mention extreme cases of, well, what if it was a serial killer, right? People that kill innocent people, children, and this and that, or harm children in any kind of way, or harm, whoever. You know what I'm going to say to that? I'm going to say that I'm going to go handle that person on my own. That's where I stand on that, and I'm going to let that be what it's going to be. Now, if the cops get to them before I do, then I have nothing to say about that other than great, great, go to prison, go to prison. I'm not saying that prison should, I'm not an anarchist. I don't want you to think that I'm an anarchist. What I am is somebody that is very skeptical and very much cynical of the system. So, Lovebug says, what are your thoughts on Johnny Somali and Vitaly? Ooh, that's a good one. So, in all honesty, I think the government of the Philippines overreacted to Vitaly. Also, I think the Koreans may have overreacted to Johnny Somali as well. Look, so here's the thing, right? This is what happened with Johnny Somali and Vitaly. They went to an Asian country. By the way, I've been to these countries before, right? I've been to Korea. I've been to the Philippines several times in my life. Okay, and here's the problem, right? Would you say that people there are somewhat passive, right? Now, look, I'll tell you this, right? I know a lot of Asians in California. Nothing about them is passive whatsoever, right? They are not passive people whatsoever. In fact, the majority of Asians that I know in California are gangsters, okay? And we already know what is up with that. So they are operating under an American culture, these Asians that I know in California, right? So they are essentially American. So in the Philippines, they have a different mentality, right? They have a very hospitable mentality. They have a very, how do I say this? Hospitable, sometimes even passive, something that many Asians have been stereotyped to be. And then here comes Vitaly, here comes somebody like Johnny Somali, who sort of exploits that idea. You know what? I'm in an Asian country. I'm going to go mess with the security guards. I'm going to go mess with, the local people, and they're not going to do anything about it, right? Because unfortunately, that is the reputation that they built. Well, now they decided, you know what? No more. We're going to set an example, and unfortunately, Vitaly and Johnny Somali came through with their pranks at the wrong time. So I think it's a little bit of an overkill. 24 years for Vitaly and what he's looking at. Johnny Somali, I don't know how many years they're going to give him, but he's not going to get out for a while in a Korean prison. And it's not good. He says, you're not American because you live or have citizenship in America. Well, I'd have to disagree with you on that, Fresh Melon Juice, because if that's the case, then the only real Americans are the ones with British ancestry, British colonial ancestry, and there's very few people that are like that. Even the majority of white people are not even of white British descent in America. So who's to say who really is American? So we have to come with the criteria of saying that, hey, you know what, if you are an American citizen, or you grew up here, or you grew up in a culture that is entrenched with, you know, American ideals or American ethos, then what are you? You're an American, right? Irregardless of side cultures or ancestral cultures and things of that nature. Fresh says, no, the ones who follow the law. Okay, well, part of following the law, Fresh, is the right to remain silent, right? Look, I think a lot of people forget that, you know, just because you're cooperative with the law, it doesn't mean that you are, what do you call it, that you are following the law. It doesn't mean that you're not following the law if you're not speaking on certain things that the police want to ask you about. You have the right to remain silent, and the reason why the forefathers of America has created rules like that is so that it can give a balance and check to corrupted officials, right? Because an official is not going to be 100%, you know, angel-like in the way that they're going to profess the law or how they're going to implement the law, right? There's possible corruptions involved. So this is why the forefathers had said you have the right to remain silent, you know, and anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. So in other words, if you have a side conversation or have a joke about something, the cops can use that against you in the court of law. So therefore, you have the right to remain silent. Renegade says, what if the person is in police custody and you are the only testimony? Elaborate more on that if you will, please. Renegade says, why won't you give a testimony? What if a person is in police custody and the only witness was you? Will you not give a testimony because of the anti-centralized enforcement, aka no reason? So there are just certain cultures that just do not talk to the police. That's just what it is. Now, you can like that, you can hate that. That's just the reality of things. You don't have to abide by that. And guess what? Me, as somebody who has that worldview, I don't also blame you for having the worldview that you will go to the cops and you will tell on, you know, X, Y, and Z. So this is the reason why, get this, right? This is the reason why. If I was to, again, you know, forgive me, Renegade, okay? This is just hypothetical. You know, suppose, you know, you and me get into it, right? And I decide to, you know, physically do something to you. You have the right to call the police on me because I know in the back of my mind that this is who you are. You're going to call the cops on me. So what is the best course of action that I should take? The best course of action that I should take is I should not go and mess with Renegade Brand because Renegade Brand will call the police on me. So what's the point of me, you know, even messing with him? Now, here's the thing, Renegade Brand. There's other men out there that are not like you, who will go out and try to do the same thing to me, will try and hurt me, but will also not tell the police if I go and try to hurt them back. Okay, that is called the honor among thieves mentality. You understand? So Renegade says, Fresh Melon Juice says, Renegade, he wants to live by rules from countries that immigrants are running from. Well, it's a little more complicated than that, Fresh. I don't think it's that simple, but I get what you're saying. Renegade, yeah, I got the gist, Fresh. Renegade says, Renegade Brand says, yeah, but just because it's your culture doesn't mean it's right or necessary to follow. You're right. You're right. Look, here's the thing, right? That's why I said if you were to call the cops on me for hypothetically do something to you, or if somebody was to do something to you and hypothetically speaking, and you call the cops, that is no pun intended, that is on brand with what Renegade does. Okay, so I don't blame you for that. So what I'm trying to say is, if you are about that life, don't mess with other people that are not about that life, in particular you and Fresh Melon Juice, you Renegade Brand and you Fresh Melon Juice. I'm not going to go do that because there is no worth of me going after someone like that. Renegade Brand says, but that's like an extremely specific situation which doesn't apply during literally any other situation. Elaborate on that a little bit. When you say, but that's like an extremely specific situation which doesn't apply during literally any other situation. So I think what you're saying is that, let me try and see if I can, preface this. So, but that's like an extremely specific situation. Okay, so extremely specific situation, what are we talking about? Where, hypothetically, if you and me get into it and then you call the cops on me. Okay, so I think that's the specific situation you're talking about, which doesn't apply during literally any other situation. So the other situation is, okay, I'll give you an example, all right? I got into this beef with this other YouTuber. I'm not going to mention his name, but I'm going to say that when we got into this beef, it spilled over into real life, okay? Because this is a Sacramento podcaster, by the way, that I got into it with. I'm not going to mention who. Maybe other people that are OGs of OG followers of this channel have probably, followed and know about it. But if you don't, then I'm not going to, even bother to mention it because I don't want to mention this person's name. We got into it, and long story short, he got to find out, like, let me just say this. He tried to test my gangster, bro. He really tried to test that part of me. And I obliged to, that. I was under the impression that, hey, you know what? This guy is solid. He's about that life as well. And we're going to find out who really is about what. Lo and behold, he goes and he threatens me with calling the boys. Okay? He threatens me with that. And then I realized, listen, I can't beef with a guy like this. Okay? Because at first I thought, you know what? We're going to handle our candle. We're going to do what we need to do. And we're going to let darkness be our friend. Right? In other words, no cameras, no online, no nothing. Just settle the beef and whatever issues we have and don't let anyone get involved. Well, lo and behold, let me just say that I went a little too hard on him to the point where he felt like as if he had no choice but to call them boys. And then I realized this is not worth it. This is not worth the situation. If I'm going to beef with somebody that is about that life, we're going to do it to the maximum of what that world expects of us. But if you want to play in the comfort of calling, how do I say this, big government, that is your own political right to do so. Renegade says, okay, so I hope I answered your question on that in my own hypothetical, situation, right? A situation that I've experienced and things of that nature. So Renegade Brand says, the honor culture of you and me is specific, and that doesn't apply during most other situations, especially when it's some innocent person who has suffered and you universally being anti-centralized. I'm going to mark that comment, Renegade. That's a very good point. Okay, I'm going to read that again just so I can, really understand what you're saying. By the way, guys, listen. This is what I love about the chats here, right? What I love about the chats is that you guys understand that I have a different worldview. You have a different worldview, but we are very respectful of each other's worldview and also very intelligent in the way that we are trying to communicate it, right? Without any extra emotions, without any extra, outbursts or volatile, type of conversations that could lead to, other things. We're very, I just wanted to say that, I'm very honored in the way that we are handling these types of debates. But yesterday, Renegade Brand, I tell you what, I had to go smash on an English guy here yesterday. So Toothbud says, what is the topic? The topic is Raja potentially going to prison. And then I'm talking with the chats right now in well, debating about, you know, the honor culture system versus people that call the police. So, all right, let's get to Doug Malo on this one, and you guys are going to find out exactly why Raja could potentially go to prison.
It's happening, and it sounds like you do as well, talking to the detectives, right?
Yeah.
And another big question that people have is that when you went on TMZ and you did an interview, apparently you switched up a bit and you said that Raja should not be arrested. So were you
I
paid
never
off?
said that.
Well, that's what people heard, and they're saying you were paid off by Rampage Jackson. So is that accurate? Were you?
Well, if Rampage, you want to pay me off, I'm open to it. You know what I mean?
What's your price?
Couple million, you know? $1 million. $1 million. All right.
Do you guys think he's joking? Now, look, you got to remember, right? This is a wrestler that lives in his trailer, okay? And, you know, parks his trailer somewhere in Hollywood, goes to his job, and then goes wrestles on the weekends. You think he would take the million? I don't know. I think he would. Toothbud says, I think he said he's joking right after this. I don't know, man. Look, I don't know if Rampage could pay him $1 million, but I don't know if... I doubt that he would not take it. Hate Love says, hi, everyone. Nice to see you all, friends. Hello, Hate Love. Man, I hope everything is good with you, my brother. Thank you for dropping in. Ooh.
Right? I got things to do, you know? It's a lot of gold chains I could buy. No, the point was this. I felt at the time that there was so much going into that this kid's so volatile that he should have never been put in that situation. The guy who brought him there was supposed to be his coach, a mentor. And if I was somebody's coach or a mentor, I would never in my life allow them to be in any type of danger to themselves, to their livelihood, their lives, their families' livelihood. I'm responsible for this person. I'm their coach, right? So what I was saying is that he shouldn't have a max jail sentence over this because there's so many moving pieces involved in this. I have a little bit of compassion, right? He's pushed into this bad situation. He's hyped up. He got all these moving pieces, and nobody wanted to be a freaking adult and just have a better conversation than, you know, what took place. So that's what I was getting at.
You see, look, this I'm really starting to become a fan of Doug Malo. In fact, man, I hope that Doug Malo gets signed to the WWE, right? And I hope that he wins a world championship while he's in the WWE. He has the look, by the way, right? The dude looks like a Viking. You know, he's got the mohawk with the man bun and the dreads going on. He's got, you know, tattoos. He's got the right size, the right build for being a pro wrestler. I never really seen any of his matches, but now I'm kind of curious to see, and I hope that Triple H is looking at this saying, you know what? We need to go sign this kid right here. He looks like he can really be good for the business. You know what I mean? Like, I really would like to see that. Look, yeah, Doug Malo, man, very level-headed. You hear what he said? He said, look, I don't want this guy to have a long prison sentence. I want him to be treated fairly under the court of law because, you know what, all of these things that happened, we have to take into consideration, right? He was abused. He was told that he was, you know, this, that, and the other. He got hyped up. He got jacked up. And, man, I'm very much a fan of Doug Malo now, and I hope all the best goes to him. Let me read some of these comments right here. So Toothbud says, I'm sure Rampage would gladly pay to make all of this go away. Facts. Renegade Brand says, what's the point of paying him off now? Laughing my ass off. Even if Rampage knows it's BS, the damage is already done. Even if he tries now, he will end up lying under oath, and that's about it. Okay, so that's true. I'm going to pin that comment right there, right? That's a very good point. I think that, yeah, you guys made a very good point on the chat, man. You know, shout outs to you guys because, you know, I'm all about learning. I'm not about espousing my own ideas that could be false or that could be wrong, right? I'm all about learning in terms of if you guys have the right information, then we're going to go off of that. If you guys don't have the right information, then we're going to try to find it together. So big ups to you on that. You're right. It doesn't make sense for him to go and try to do that, right? So yeah, it is too late at this point, Toothbud says, and he already said too much. That's true. I think Rampage doing a live stream every day, I don't think that's the worst thing because a lot of people are saying he should just, you know, get off live stream or this and that. No, I think you should do what you need to do if that is your job and that is what you need to do. You just can't talk about this situation. Go do other things, right? Go have, you know, training sessions on your live stream. Go have a coffee with, you know, Tito Ortiz and make him look like an idiot with him espousing his political ideas. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Do content like that, but don't do content that is going on with the news involving you right now. Navi says, what are we talking about? We are talking about Raja Jackson potentially going to prison and facing criminal charges. So Raja again, yes, because Rampage won't be quiet about this, man. You know, that is the point, is that, look, bro, I'm telling you, man, if Rampage doesn't talk about this, then there is no content. Nobody is talking about this but Rampage. Well, other than Doug Malo, because now Doug Malo is in high demand based on his experience and what he was able to see. So, all right, more on Doug Malo. Hate Love says, hey guys, someone yesterday, okay, why day means yesterday. Okay, someone yesterday said Diddy is free. He was denied bail again, so we are safe for now. Okay. A Renegade Brand says, what do you think will earn more? Diaz versus Conor 3 or Jones versus Aspinall or Islam versus Ilya? Which one of those fights will earn more? I'm going to say Diaz and Conor McGregor, although, you know what? This is not the same Conor McGregor. It's not the same Diaz anymore. I don't know if they still have that same star power. I'm going to say Jones and Aspinall, because Jones is in high demand to fight Aspinall. He's not in high demand to fight anybody else, but if Tom Aspinall was to fight John Jones, it would vindicate the reality of his undisputed championship, right? Islam versus Ilya. I think Islam is a bigger star than Ilya, even though people like to pretend Ilya is a bigger star. But I think that Ilya is only a big star in Spain, right? Whereas Islam, he encompasses the world because obviously he's a Muslim fighter. So being a Muslim fighter means you got all the European Muslim hooligans on your side. You got the Saudi Arabians, the Emiratis, and then you got the Muslims that live in other Western countries such as Australia, America, and Canada who have his back. So Hate Love says has to be Jones versus Conor. Fresh Melon Juice comes out versus Islam. Renegade Brand says Jones versus Conor. Hater Love says I meant Jones versus Aspinall. Okay, so you think, yeah, I agree. I think Jones versus Aspinall would be in higher demand out of all those things. Toothbud says, no, I think Conor would make the most still. He still pulls all the casuals, and all of us regulars will watch it too, even if we don't want to admit it. That's true. Conor McGregor has become sort of like a guilty pleasure nowadays, right? Now, no pun intended, back in the days, pro wrestling was, a guilty pleasure. I remember back in the days, some people were sort of like ashamed to watch pro wrestling. Like you're watching pro wrestling and then people walk in on you, and then the next thing you know, you're changing the channel to watch like Maury or Jerry Springer or something like that, as if that's any better. But obviously I'm not naming any specific situations other than just hypothetical situations, of course. Toothbud says, at the end of the day, it's the casuals that make the difference. Yes, it is. And that's a very good point. I'm going to mark that comment, Toothbuds. The reason why I'm going to mark that comment is because all of us hardcores, and I'm going to assume everyone in here is a hardcore, right? The reason why we're all hardcores is because we're going to watch literally everything. So they got us. Okay, you want to throw a fight night card in Apex Center, we're going to watch it. You want to throw a fight night card in Paris in the middle of an afternoon in the West Coast of America, we're going to watch it. But for everybody else, they want to bring in prime time, 7 p.m. on the dot of a pay-per-view night. You want to be able to attract the casuals. They are what matters the most, because we are the base foundation. Us hardcores are the base foundation of the industry, but the casuals are the true life-changing money for the promotion and the fighters themselves. So that's what it is. Yeah, so the casuals definitely do make the difference. Renegade Brand says Kamzat versus Islam doesn't even make sense. Kamzat would have to eat air for a year to go to welterweight, and why the F would Islam go to middleweight, my guy? Yeah, they're not going to fight. They said that they're not going to fight because they do not want to build animosity towards the Chechens and the Dagestanis. So in other words, Islam is afraid of creating a split between them, which was already volatile in the first place, indicative of the Abu Bakr and Kamzat street fight that they had outside of the cage while Islam was talking to Joe Rogan after winning his championship. I think it was Joe Rogan he was talking to. I'm not sure. Maybe no, it was probably Daniel Cormier, because at a certain point Joe Rogan stopped doing overseas cards. So Toothbud says, we watch every pay-per-view no matter how bad it is. Yeah, exactly. Correct. Fresh Melon Juice says, O'Malley eats air. You know what? I think it would probably be time for O'Malley to move up to 145 at some point, right? Park Ulsterwich says, the casual and the trolls are kings. The casual and the trolls are kings. You're right about that, right? Because I tell you what, in subject to MMA Guru, by the way, MMA Guru, he's also part of this live stream in the title that I had put here. What was I going to say about MMA Guru? Okay, so when he had 20,000 subscribers, right? Those are real, genuine MMA Guru fans and real, genuine hardcore fans. The 100,000 to 200,000 to 300,000 followers that he has going on, this is now based on the reality of him having casuals and just trolls in his chat. I mean, look, I got a lot of casuals and a lot of trolls that come in here, so, you know, inshallah, that's a good sign for me. Toothbud says, man, I don't know why it makes me nervous for O'Malley to move up. His power isn't even that crazy at 35. I don't know if it'll translate well at 145. Well, not so fast. I think that if O'Malley was to move up to 145, I think that he would be a lot faster because he's not cutting a lot of weight. But that remains to be seen. Renegade Brand says, I think it's an unpopular opinion, but I want to see Izzy versus Sean 3. White House. Okay, remember, White House. They still have to fill up the White House card. And by the way, it's been confirmed that the White House fight is on and cracking. They're going to get it cracking soon. So Toothbud says, does O'Malley have a tough weight cut? Yeah, he definitely has a tough weight cut on him for sure. Yeah.
On a max sense, a mandatory mental health evaluation, like a sentence that's...
Okay, so he's saying, Doug Malo is saying here that he would like to see Raja get a mental health evaluation. And quite frankly, I think he's right. Look, make no mistake about it. I will back Rampage for the life of me, right? He's a good friend of TJ Dillashaw. I love TJ Dillashaw. That is my homie. I've trained with the guy. I love what he's about. I love the accomplishments that he's made in the cage, and also I love the fact that he's living his best life in his retirement fight. You've seen TJ Dillashaw lately looking hugged up. Bro, he's a 135 fighter, and he looks like he's almost as big as me now, right? So shout-outs to TJ Dillashaw in regards to that. Also shout-outs to Rampage. I'm going to have their back, but Rampage, unfortunately, is a narcissistic father, and I think that Raja got the butt end of that. So I agree with Doug Malo on this. If Izzy versus Sean 3 is both their attachment, it's 2. It would be Sean and Izzy versus 2. They only fought one time, okay? And Sean has that win. So yeah, Renegade Brand says you trained with TJ. I did. Yeah, I trained with TJ, Uriah Faber, Chad Mendez, Andre Feely, Joseph Benavidez. Who else was in Team Alpha Male? Well, Anthony Pettis also came out here with Sergio Pettis before Sergio Pettis was a pro. So yeah, I've trained with a few exceptional people in the game. So so I hope that gives me some kind of authority to be able to talk about MMA. Toothbud says, no offense, but Team Alpha Male seems like a graveyard for great fighters. I mean, that's your opinion, but we also have other fighters that are on the come up as well. you know, people from around the world, not just Sacramento originals, but yeah. Toothbud says, I really liked them at first, but I've noticed they can't produce champs anymore. Yeah, it's just an evolving game. Look, there was a period where, you know, they had a few champs. They had, you know, they were passing championships from Cody Garbrandt to TJ Dillashaw to Dominic Cruz. And then Dominic Cruz had series with Uriah Faber. So, yeah. Put Khamzat versus Raja. That will teach Raja a lesson he will soon not forget. I mean, look, you put him in there against Khamzat. That's not a punishment. That's literally rewarding him, in my opinion. Renegade Brand says, I meant to type 2. Okay. Toothbud says, TJ noticed that and left for brighter pastures. You know what? I agree. I agree. Look, man, listen, Team Alpha Male is not the end-all, be-all, right? Even though I'm from, you know, Sacramento, I live here, I've trained in that team. Yeah, I don't think they're the end-all, be-all, right? And plus, you know, they weren't the only team that I trained with out in Sacramento as well. It just so happens that when TJ decided to train with another team in another state, in another town, that somehow that was a big offense to, you know, the general of the team, Uriah Faber. So, Renegade says, do you think Merab is a better bantamweight than TJ? You know what? I don't know if you're going to get, you know, a real answer from me on that, because in my opinion, I think that TJ Dillashaw is the greatest 135er ever, right? I think that he's the greatest 135er ever, and I absolutely, you know, stand on that. So, were you there when Dwayne Ludwig was around? What happened to him? Yeah, they moved to Colorado, and you know, and TJ, you know, had you know, gone with him. So let me show you a picture of me and Uriah training together back in 2011 on his UFC debut, when the UFC was bought out by the WEC. Let me see if oh, by the way, speaking of MMA royalty, do you guys know who that is? Do you guys know who that is that I'm FaceTiming on that phone? Right, rest in peace to the greatest coach of MMA right there. Okay, just so you guys know that, you know, AKA has filmed the best MMA content of all time. No, Dominic Cruz is the GOAT bantamweight. Merab is funny as F. They are definitely great, Jim, but don't get me wrong, they are not top tier like ATT or AKA. I think Team Alpha Male emphasizes more on lower weight classes. By the way, there's me and Uriah right here. Yep, so that was the same fight card that John Jones won his first light heavyweight championship. So yeah, I had one MMA fight, and before that I'm undefeated in amateur Muay Thai. So I fought in amateur Muay Thai. Let me show you some pictures of my fights right here. So this was my my only MMA fight right here back in 2012. Right, that got ruled a no contest from an illegal kick. This is my Muay Thai fight. Look at this. I need this guy right here. This is, yeah, one of my Muay Thai fights right here. And then that's me winning that trophy that you see right here. Right? So, yeah. So there it is. Right? Renegade Brand says, Mighty Mouse, GSP, Randy Couture, and Amanda Nunes, Mount Rushmore. What do you think? Mighty Mouse, GSP, Randy Couture, and Amanda Nunes. That's your Mount Rushmore? Okay. Toothbud says, any plans for the future? I'd love to come to SAC when I visit. Yeah, man. Let me know if you're here. You know, let me know. Tap in with me, bro. For sure, man. I definitely would love to tap in with, you know, my supporters online. That would absolutely be awesome for sure. So, okay. Okay, so the other topic I wanted to talk about, obviously, we're all in the same topic anyway, but yeah, MMA Guru could get sued by Rampage Jackson. So I'm probably going to do a side video on that, you know, just to kind of, you know, emphasize on that. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to try to do a video on that. I haven't done videos in a couple of days, just been doing live stream. But yeah, Fresh Melon Juice says Pantoja, 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 Mount Rushmore. Man, you are the biggest Pantoja fan ever from what I noticed. Hate Love says Khabib, Islam, Kamzat, Tom, Mighty Mouse, GSP, and the Diaz brothers. Okay, so let me see here. Let me see how many, oh wow, okay, 500 views we got on this over. Okay, so yeah, let's, that's not even a Mount Rushmore, he said. Okay, so all right, here we go. Here's more on Doug Malo.
But not overdoing it with a mandatory of you can't have any type of parole or anything early until you have this mandatory health evaluation and therapy program.
So those were your thoughts when you did the interview. Do you still stand by that?
Yeah, I wasn't trying to say that he shouldn't be sentenced at all. Like, that never left my mouth. I was saying he shouldn't have this max sentence or this heavy sentence. Like, attempted murder, what's the max on that? Like 15 years?
At least, probably.
Right? So, like, he's 25. Like, it's messed up what he did to Stu. It's a serious situation, so he's going to get what he's going to get. I'm just saying it shouldn't be throw the whole book at him. Like, let's try to take a look at what happened and then maximize how much help he can get mentally, plus the sentence. But that has to be in tandem. It's not just go rot in jail, but with mental health and a forced therapy program and benchmarks to get to, then I feel like that's a saving grace. You know what I mean? That's something that I feel like that's an agreeable thing.
So those are your own opinions. Have you talked to Rampage Jackson at all?
No, but if I did, $1 million.
And then you'll change your opinions to Raja doesn't need any jail time.
No, I won't change my opinions.
So what's the $1 million for?
Just because I want $1 million. I just would never change my opinion for money. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. I don't know if you guys want to see my bank account and how broke I am right now.
No, we believe you. But what I wanted to point out is just knowing Doug. I think in that situation, he was just trying to see everybody's side of it, but that's just the person Doug is. Obviously, he's not been paid off. Speaking of Stu, he's out of the hospital as of today. I saw a post. Now, how aware is he of what actually happened? Because at one point, I saw something about they said they don't want anybody to tell him what happened and to say he just hit his head in the ring. So at this point...
Okay, so now we're getting into some really interesting things here that they are talking about here. Let me see here. The chat is getting into some interesting topics, and Doug Malo and the Scaling Up podcast is getting into some interesting comments. So... anti-juice. Okay, Toothbud says, no one is including John Jones, I'm assuming because he popped for PEDs. Oh yeah, and Silva too. Okay, so that is a trend that I noticed you guys were doing when you're doing your GOAT list there. Okay, so that's very interesting. Renegade Brand says, in a prime Mount Rushmore, Silva is too. Yes. Hate Love says, yeah, no love for cheaters. Connor left the testing pool and did PEDs and then was ready to rejoin. Don't pop when your camp is just that even. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Yeah, I think everybody at some point has used PEDs. I will say Conor McGregor was very anti-PEDs, right? He was a guy that absolutely believed in his own abilities. Now, when he got that leg injury from the Dustin Poirier fight, it changed a little bit. It changed to the point where, you know, he decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to start taking PEDs now, because the reason why I'm going to start taking PEDs is because my leg is injured, my leg is busted up, and as a result of that, well, this is what I got to do to get better. So, all right. So,
is he fully aware of...
Okay, so, all right, Psycho Stu is now out of the hospital. That is the next thing that they're going to talk about. Guys, go check out this podcast with Scaling Up podcast regarding Doug Malo and his accounts of his conversation with LAPD. So the next topic at hand, which, by the way, we're going to get into the bonus round, is MMA Guru potentially getting sued by Rampage Jackson. So I'm going to play a clip of MMA Guru responding to Rampage potentially suing him, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, so there's a clip of him. Okay, so here it is. Shoutouts to Gray Shirt for getting this on the internet right here. Okay, so he says hate love. Yeah, no love for cheaters. Prime Kane, Prime Stipe, Prime BJ Penn, and Prime Connor is the Prime Mount Rushmore. Okay. Toothbud says, yeah, Prime Kane is still the heavyweight GOAT. Renegade Brand says, oh yeah, no one is replacing his Prime. Okay, so guys, I want you to listen to this audio with MMA Guru responding to Jackson threatening to sue him. I'm going to be right back, and then we're going to talk about it, okay? So listen to this and let me know what you guys think afterwards, okay? I'll be right back.
You see, this guy is not inbred. And there once was a man years ago. I would actually turn into a campfire story in Dagestan. That's actually true, chat. They'd be sitting around the campfire, yeah? I'm telling you, chat, they'd be sitting around the campfire. There was a man, he come.
Hey, shout-outs to Renegade Brand. I will see you soon, brother. Shout-outs to you. But in the meantime, yeah, you guys stay and listen to this audio. We're going to talk about MMA Guru and him responding to Rampage Jackson, potentially suing him. So I'll see you around, my man. But yeah, stay. Everybody in the chat, stay. We're going to keep the thing going. Just listen to this. Shout out to you, Renegade Brand. Thank you for the interesting conversation that we had today. You've been a very big contributor to the conversations today. All right, we'll be right back.
Through here, brother, I tell you, this guy, not inbred, not even the slightest bit. I'm being serious. This is very real story, brother. You need to hear the tale of the man. He come here, no, fuck your cousin. We offer him 10 goats. He say, no, this disgusting, this guy, crazy. I would become a campfire story in Dagestan by turning down a fucking sheep. Thank you very much for the $2. Impression of perfectly fluent English AI translated Yuri. I'm jolly well looking forward to my bout with Khalil Roundtree. I'm going to give him a harsh history lesson, you know. It acts like he's not gay.
Hey guys, don't be shy to drop in some super chats, okay? So he says I'll be right back. AP says Prime's a beat or Ivleev. Ooh, I'm gonna probably go with Ivleev. Finn Bryant says LOL Guru is funny as F. Yeah, he is. But he's facing a lawsuit right now, and then he talks about you know, potentially yeah, the potentiality of all of that here. So listen to this.
I totally don't have a boner. Tonight. What are you doing here, John Jones? Thank you for the 15 months of membership. Weirdest, sketchiest thing that's happened to you while alone at your house? I mean, I used to have really bad sleep paralysis, so I thought I got raped by a demon once when I was asleep. I didn't get raped. He just sort of picked me down, pushed on the back of my head. That was it. That's probably the weirdest thing. I've had other things, but I don't want to tell because, yeah. Thank you for the 2. Prediction for Huffy. But yeah, you know, it's people, you know, they're interesting creatures. The prediction for Huffy versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Huffy. Benoit's too slow. What do you think of Conor smashing young fighters in sparring? I don't think he was. He was holding back a little bit. He held back on that left hand, so I disagree. You got to rough up the fucking young'uns a little bit, you know, see if they're ready for it. But I don't think he was fucking them up. I think he was just doing logical sparring. Impression of Volk realizing Nina Drama was in air fryer. Was in the air fryer. Hang on a minute, I've left Nina in there. Holy shit. The sleep paralysis demon. Yeah, I got raped by a sleep paralysis demon, but he didn't rape me. And it might not even been a he, but with the strength that he required to push my head down, it might have been. No, it's probably a woman. Basically, I had a dream here that there was this, like, demon running, sprinting through the streets. And then during me following, like, a third-person perspective shot of this demonic-looking thing, man or woman, might be a man with long hair, sprinting through the streets, I started noticing the street names and the road names and recognizing the turnings. And I was like, oh my God, he's coming to the house. So he runs to the house, goes straight up to the front door. I'm watching it happen. Third person perspective, this demonic creature. Run to my front door, bang on the front door. Then the dream changes to where I'm inside the house. I can hear it banging on the door, but I can still see it from the outside. Comes into the house, comes into the room. Doesn't come into the room, sorry. A weird thing happens. I look up, top left, I see like an upside down cross with a balloon on top of it. Then it comes into the house, opens the door while I'm turned to the other side of the door. I can't move. It's in the room, and it pushes my head down like this. Like that. Really pushes my head down into the pillow, and I just went, ah! That's the only thing I could do. And then it stopped, and then I woke up in a fucking hot sweat. Thank you for the £2, and I saw the outline of like the upside down cross thing with a balloon above it. It was fucking weird. Joe Rogan had the same experience, but in the woods. Yeah, true. Impression of I've already read it. You say you got JDM just like how you had DDP? What do you mean? Oh yeah. Yeah, just like I had fighters to win as well, and they won. Yeah, I've got JDM, just like I had JDM against Bilal. Yeah, wow. I got a fight wrong once. It's crazy, bro. Impression. Oh, this guy's Indian that he's fighting, Tommy McMillan. Oh, no, he isn't. He's Caucus. Oh, different. Very different. Fucking hell, never mind. I thought that was an easy dub. Please tell me you've watched Lucas' latest video. What is Lucas's latest video? I don't worry about Rampage, man. You can stream from prison. It's not like you go outside anyway. Exactly, man. Exactly. What has he been saying? If Ilya were to fight Benoit Saint-Denis, Lucas would have an existential crisis. It's like picking between... Dude is the most recency biased man of all time. Let me see what he's saying. Thank you for the $2. The last Kill Tony had Rob Schneider. It was good. Okay, maybe I'll check it out. Ploddy Man Blades. I don't know what the takes are. Garn's not a top 15 heavyweight. What was that? Oh, Curtis Blades is in a top 5 heavyweight. Ploddy Man Blades. I can't really see what the takes are. The heavyweight division today is a lot better than heavy division. I agree. Magomed Ankalaev's the most unbeatable light heavyweight champ of all time. He just touched the belt. What are the takes? Nobody outside of Hamzat and Dricus has a chance to beat Anthony Hernandez. I don't mind it. Why Hamzat and Dricus? They're two completely different styles to try and beat him. I think RDR's got a weirdly good chance. Gilbert Burns, the worst ranked fighter in the UFC right now, excluding heavyweight. Interesting. I'd say Amy Zabia. No, never mind. Maybe not. He did beat Aldo. You say like Roman Kopylov or like Zhang Mingyang or Alonzo Menifield rather than Gilbert Burns. Maybe his current form. These are interesting takes. We are not worried at all. We'd gladly accept an Armin fight. Alright, I'm done reading it now. Arnold Allen is the most underrated fighter, I agree. I don't think if he beats Van, he's a flyweight go. Yo, Guru, pick.
I got people like MMA Guru telling me to stop streaming, and he trying to dig up the past and stuff, and he opened himself up for defamation of character. He's a fucking idiot. He's talking about the time when I got in that car accident, and he's twisting the facts. Like I've already that's old. I already like did interviews about it and told everything, and I never was speeding. It wasn't a high speed chase. Didn't crash in the back of somebody going 60 miles per hour, and no one had a miscarriage that day. And only damage I did was hit a side view mirror. That's why I didn't get no time, but I did get 200 hours of community service. So what I did was I went to different schools and I talked to young kids for 200 hours. I talked to young kids and told them about the street life. You know, I grew up on the streets, and I was basically teaching young kids like you grew up on the street. Because like I said, some kids just born into a bad situation because their parents, you know, where they're born, right? And I was unfortunately, one of those kids just born into like a certain neighborhood that had guys that want to be crime boss, and they liked me because I was tough, taught me how to fight, taught me how to do all this stuff. And I learned not to be like them. And I told people, teaching people that the streets, it's a dead end, but you can learn what you take.
I've noticed that. I was getting a bit puffy at a certain point a couple weeks ago. Rampage gonna get you, little dirty word user. Yeah. Dude, you know what's crazy, chat? I thought Rampage Jackson was gonna, like, offer to fight me. That was gonna be, like, the end game of this. Threatening to sue over defamation when I'm reading public information is insane. You know what I mean? Insane. I'm gonna make a video tomorrow about it. I think I should enter the video with a calm head. Thank you for the $2. Rampage trying to sue you. What the fuck? He said, you know, you're leaving yourself, that's defamation. And all of this, bro. I don't know what he's saying. What up, mate? Looking cute today. Thank you very much for the 5 months of membership. He's mentioning defamation because I read an article. Rampage, I read a public article on Google. Sue the newspaper if that's defamation. Oh no, never mind. He's scaring me off with bullshit, bro. You do not win that case. Reading public information. Are you done? Thank you for the £2. Guru, you seen the new MMA prospect? Stu Gold, dude. Sue Penguins EO. You know what I mean? It's so dumb. I'm not going to speak on it too much because I want to save it for a video, but either way. Guru's impression of Raja being a dumb animal? Shit, I'm going to kill him. I sure do love donating to the character MMA Guru. Thank you. I do enjoy doing the character, the MMA Guru. Rip Harry Hardwick, another Cage Warriors champ down the drain. Dude, it's not fair the way he's been signed. But he's going to win with his grappling. I agree, is the BP1. He's going to win by his wicked back take system. This is what we don't consider. Impression of Guru's new appreciation of after his lawyer helped him beat. There's no need for a lawyer. He'll get thrown out of UK court. I read a public article at Rampage. That's not how it works. I don't know if he got told just say it and see if he stops making videos, but you're going to take me to court. I'm going to say, oh yeah, I just read an article online. What's the article? Oh, this is the article I read out. Good one, man. Thank you for the $5. Jones cleared of all charges. I know it's such bullshit. We just let them get away with anything. All right, chill out. Thank you for the $5. Don't give him a real case. Man showing up at court. Oh yeah. Oh shit. Thank you for the $5. You just know Bear was the one who told Rampage to sue. I don't know. It ain't gonna happen, man. I don't know how you can sue me for reading public information. I don't get it. I thought Rampage was gonna like call me out for a fight, and that's where this was gonna end up. Such a letdown of a man, you know. I really liked Rampage, you know. I actually proper liked Rampage and thought he was a cool dude. Bro, I thought this whole thing was gonna end with him calling me out for some kind of fight. Sue for defamation over mean words. Rampage Jackson, you're gonna sue someone for mean words. You know what I mean? Fucking hell, bro. What a melt. Thank you for the $5. Colby asked for Paddy or Gilbert. What do you think? My bad if you already talked about it. Love the show. Thank you for the $5. Colby asked for Paddy or Gilbert. What do you think? My bad if you talked about it. Love Gilbert might make sense, to be fair. What's up with Rampage going through humiliation ritual? I don't know what he's doing, but yeah, it's strange. With no freedom of speech in the UK, are you worried? No. Can I sue him for defamation? Yeah, he called me racist over nothing. So you want to play that game, Rampage? You did it more than me. Impression of Big Tom testifying in court for you? No. Thank you for the $5. Impression of Marab standing up for Raja during an unskippable cutscene. Hey everybody, you need to understand. Person sniffing a fat line. Yeah! Oh yeah! Thank you for the $2. Just got here pumped about Harry. Prediction? I don't know. He's going to win, dude. He's going to win. He's going to rear naked choke him. Round 2 after. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. A couple days notice, Carway Fernandez. It's going to be tough, but we're going to get through that first round. And we are going to find the rear naked. I really hope Rampage wins, so you lose everything. Thanks for the content, man. No problem. Thank you for the 5. We are not scared of a lawsuit. Yes, we are welcoming it. True. Impression of Ariel justifying Palestine. What? They'd never do that. When is D Witchcraft video dropping? Thank you for the $2. Halloween. Why doesn't Connor get hotter bitches? I don't know, maybe it's after stream. Yes, it's coming out after stream. They're done. I did them earlier today. Thank you for the 2. Raja's behind you. You're screwed if he sues you. I'm not, though. What about? In what way? In any way at all? How could I be? There's no chance. There's literally nothing to it at all. No shot. I'm making a video tomorrow. I'm making a video responding tomorrow. There's no chance, bro. There's no chance at all in any way there could be anything there. Come on. Thank you for the $2. Call him Rampage or Diddy Booty Jackson. Yeah, Diddy Booty Jackson. Thank you for the $2, man. Thank you for the £2. Reckon bedtime went to the protests? I'm not sure. I don't know how he is. Probably not. He's a bit of a Steph Curry fan. Grounds, if you're just reading from an article. I know, I just read from an article. It's insane. Dude, defamation, even if I didn't, even if I just did say some shit, he ain't winning that. It's just a weird threat. Like, someone told him in his ear, just say this, and maybe he'll stop making videos. I'm doing one tomorrow. If you get sued, it's more about tying you up in a court battle. It doesn't matter if you're right or not. It's still a headache. It's not like that in the UK, though. In America, you can get tied up in a court battle. In the UK, you don't. They don't go like that. They just throw shit out if it ain't worth it. Thank you for the $2. Harry Hardwick signed with the UFC. True. I saw it. I'm very aware. Sad Harry Hardwick first fight. But it's going to be a good fight, dude. It's going to be a wicked performance. That's all we care about. Sounds like Rampage has paper skin. Yeah, I'm going to tweet it in a second, too.
So birth injuries are cases that generally occur around the time of labor and delivery. Sometimes it's from medical providers not providing the right type of support to the mom, not delivering the baby soon enough. There are other circumstances, though, that could happen prenatally, choices that were made during the actual prenatal care. And then other times it could be actually during the resuscitation. So some babies need extra support when they're transitioning to life outside their mom. And if that's not handled carefully, it can end up in a birth injury as well.
Boys here in the UK should just laugh at that. At that, yeah, but then they could fucking turn their eyes onto me, you know what I mean? I'll be alright, dude. Ain't shit gonna happen. I'm legitimately confused as to what he thinks suing you will do. I get people like him don't think, but still. I don't understand what he thinks. I think what he's saying is, he's just saying something that would make me not want to make a further video. But I'm making a video tomorrow responding. So, there's no case. Go ahead. I thought you were going to call me out to a boxing match, you bitch. What a pathetic little bitch, man. Thank you for the $5. We will stand our base against Rampage because we don't fear them. And if you sue me for defamation, then I'm going to sue you because you called me racist over nothing. There you go. Thank you for the 5. As 2nd Division Admiral of Jerusalem, I stand on guard for thee. True. You think I could take Rampage in a fight? I think most could, he's old man. Did you see Podcast Cringe's take on the Raja shit? No. I haven't seen it. Don't know who that is. Good to see Psycho Stu awake. Long road to recovery. He'll be fine. He's back to it, you know. Hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. Thank you for the £20. I appreciate you. I'm so confused. The whole world witnessed a man slam another man to the ground unconscious and follow up with 20+ life-ending punches before getting pulled off. And no one's in jail but Guru's getting sued. I know, it is what it is. I'll be fine though, man. There's no case at all. Where did you find out that he's suing you? He said it on stream. I saw a clip of it this morning. Are you going to release the stuff from that fight of it? No, not tomorrow in that video. I'll save it for another time. Thank you for the 2. Would you fight Hassan Piker in Misfits Boxing? Rampage first. Thank you for the membership, official Alex Long. Appreciate you. Thank you for 3 weeks. It's fake every time. Worth it getting media insurance? Coffee Dealer has it. Thank you for the £2. I'll be absolutely fine. Thank you for the 2. I'm okay to read public articles. Thanks, man. I'll be fine. Rampage, Layla, and Nina should join forces in the lawsuit. Sure. Thank you for the 2. It'll all get thrown out. Thuggy was a fan, so was I and many others, I'm sure. I mean, I was a huge fan of Rampage until I realized how big of a bitch he is. Thank you for the $10. Rampage literally has people calling him racial slurs and threatening him, and he does nothing. He hasn't watched anything you've done. People telling him bullshit. Yeah, crazy yet threatens you. Cringe, I know. It's an absolutely insane situation. Thank you for the $10. You want to fight Rampage boxing? I thought that's where it was going to go, but no, it goes defamation route instead. No, I'm not going to seriously call him out publicly for a boxing match, no. Tier lists of Guru getting sued. Tier list of me getting sued, I mean, it's happened a few times. Well, it hasn't ever happened, but it's been mentioned a few times. But they never do it because there's no case. Are the predictions coming out after the stream? No. Yes, they are right after the stream, yeah. Rampage would knock you out cold. Sure he would, dude. Genuinely give me 6 months to a year of training. I'd flatline KO him in a boxing ring out the ropes. Straight up. I reckon right now he'd beat me. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, if you give me some decent run up, I'm closing the gap on Rampage easy. Old man Rampage, put him through the ropes easy. Thank you for the $7 Canadian. He spends a couple of weeks with Aiden Ross and then starts threatening lawsuits. True. Very true. Start training, I might have to fuck down the fucking local gym. I might have to hop down the local gym. Maybe I'll have to, dude. Shake off the cobwebs a little bit, you know? That was the most delusional shit I've ever heard. Yeah, Jake Paul ain't beat no one. Impression of Conor gooning to the MMA Guru doing impressions of Conor? Nah, I'm good. Thank you for the $5. No, we're not doing that one. Attaboy, Guru, yeah? The cadence in your town is absolutely amazing. I'm convinced no one over the age of 16 watches Rampage's streams. Dude is literally a man-child and can't be trusted around women, ATIQ. I don't know, dude, you might get sued for insulting him. Maybe Rampage is affected by all the chemicals in the food and water. Like Alex Jones says, it's turning the friggin' frogs gay. Thank you for the $5 Australian. True. Rob Schneider kept calling out. Alright, I don't know. That's dumb. You've said nothing that's... I know. It's very obvious. I've had people message me on Instagram that are lawyers. From the Layla Machado Gary thing, a bunch of lawyers messaged me saying there's nothing. She can't do anything, by the way. They messaged me again saying, just a heads up, Rampage can't do anything at all. So, it is what it is. I don't know why he thinks he can, but maybe he's just trying to scare me off to not making a video, but I'm making it tomorrow. You will. Definitely making it now. Press conference 4 p.m. UK time on Friday. Facts, yo. Is betting tips. Wow, we. I'm a Cali licensed attorney as well. You're good. I know. I've had all the people reach out. I'll be fine. I just don't understand why they handle me in this way. You know? What do I do what am I doing, chat? Am I like more potent with the way I call people out than others? Because so many people made videos calling him out. So many people made videos about the Ian Gary thing, but I'm always the one that gets like, an MMA Guru said that. Like, I don't know why. How many strikes did you give Rampage? What do you mean strikes? I didn't give him any. Yeah, where's this Conor McPotter vid you promised? We're saving it for Halloween. We're saving it for Halloween, mate. You'll direct, which is based. I guess so. You're gonna make a video just laughing like Rampage? No. Dude, it's because of the number of views, obviously. But Asmongold and Penguin Zio got way more views than me and had the same... I guess they weren't as aggressive with it, I guess. It is what it is. They got way more views than me, though. Alright, it's this McMillan guy versus Magoyan. What a name. This is how McMillan looks. He doesn't look like his Tapology profile. Who's this? Is he wearing a wig? That's a wig, right?
Oh, what are you two doing here?
Honey, we talked about this.
The apocalypse called. They don't need this much toilet paper.
Don't worry, Tom. It's hard not to stop.
Well,
Rampage gonna get you.
so here we are. No, Fresh, you don't know what you're talking about, Fresh. That is in no correlation to anything. Toothbud says, I thought he was trolling. Marty, he'd be right back to play us this podcast. Hitting the bottle. I'm not a drinker. You guys know that as a Muslim man, I'm not a drinker. He says Zayn is rubbing off on him. LOL. No, it has absolutely nothing to do with that. I had to play that to give you guys context. Okay, so the context that I'm trying to play for you guys is that, yes, you were just saying earlier that you should not play MMA Guru that long because you're winding us up. Well, that's the point. I am trying to wind you guys up because obviously for you guys to listen to my channel, there's two things that's going on with you. Number one, you're a hardcore MMA fan. You also probably train, meaning that you understand the breakdowns of what I'm saying, the play-by-play, and the analysis that I give with predictions and things of that nature. And then the other side of it is that when it comes to deciphering all this news and story, I'm very objective in the way that I approach these things, right? Now, earlier, when you guys were listening to MMA Guru, he said something to the effect of, well, I don't know why, everybody's, always winding up with me. I don't, he has a very distinct accent, so please excuse me if, I don't do a very good MMA Guru accent. I'm very good with UK accents, but, MMA Guru has a very distinct accent, right? Which, by the way, sounds a lot more clearer than most other English British people that speak the same language we do. In fact, MMA Guru's English sounds a lot more like us because there's a clarity to the way that he says things. For example, when they say wanker, you's a bloody wanker, you wanker. Well, okay, in American English, you're a wanker. Wanker. You are a wanker. That's it. That's really what it is. He says, I haven't trained for years, but I'll be back soon. Shout out to you, my man. Fresh Melon Juice says, oh, I'm trained in operational defense. Very interesting. Toothbud says, I believe he has a London accent. Is that a London accent? Okay, hold on. Let me...
Little dirty word.
Little dirty...
Yeah. Dude, you know what's crazy?
Dude, you know what's crazy? Okay, I'm trying to emulate his accent so I can... see, it's like the American version of a SoCal accent. Okay, wow. Okay, that's a good comparison right there. A typical one. Let me read some of the comments up there. Okay, so Hate Love says, sorry, Kyrie, but don't play this for so long. Guru is winding me up and others deluded. He is deluded. So he was saying that he could get in the ring and knock out Rampage Jackson. I think that is all tongue-in-cheek. He is only saying it for that moment to try and not just get views, but also clip farm, right? He knows that these types of comments are subjected to being clip farmed, and as a result, give him more of the attention towards his way, right? Which, by the way, look, MMA Guru created a following. I kind of understand the blueprint in the way that he built it. But in light of that, he also used many of that clout to garner the attention of some real bigwigs in the game. So guys, please excuse me. I'm going to scroll up and read your comments as you were watching this video. Toothbud says, I will say, though, Rampage was crying. Defamation is weak. Josh says, Guru is the type to go into the gym and skip sparring. Woo. That is true. Hate Love says, stop eating, Guru. Even Logan Paul can beat you. Yeah, that's a fact. I think if we're talking boxing, for sure. Yeah, for sure, what's his name has that going on, Logan Paul. Josh says, agreed. Marty Miller says, I really can't take much of Guru. Josh says, I promise you guys, Guru will never fight anyone. I agree with that. Hate Love says, Tooth, now that they will be funny, Cassio would batter him. Toothbud says, book it. Toothbud says, Guru versus Cassio. Who is Cassio? I got to look up who that is. Who is Casio? Oh my. Okay, so this is who you guys are talking about. Okay, I'm now starting to see why you guys are trying to match him up, right? Because obviously this guy definitely resembles MMA Guru in a weird way. You know what I mean? Like, he definitely does have this MMA Guru look to him. So, let me see here. Okay. Okay, so let's move along to the comments. Okay, Guru is so big he thinks he can beat most people in a fight. Look, I'm gonna show you footage of MMA Guru sparring. Remember yesterday when we dissed the living heck out of Daniel Hamid, right? Obviously, what's his name? Zayn Musa Boxing had a comment about it. I'm going to show you guys right here, right? He said the comments after the fact, not the comments during the show, because there's like a difference, right? There's the comment live section, and then there's the comment section for when the live stream is over, right? Or, yeah, or I guess you could probably comment on it as well on the other side if you flip. But this is what Zayn had to say about Daniel Hamid yesterday, right? So he says, Daniel Hamid's a clown. Don't even give this man any attention. I feel sorry for him because Bear Man were even mocking him to me. But I see him diss Hamza Shiraz and his team, and I was like, the guy's a joker, man. Why am I feeling sorry for him? Haha, he's not even known in London. Flippin' quitter. He quit in the boxing ring. Oh, man. And then I said, LOL, facts. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. Yeah, the little Daniel Hamid thing. We showed you guys yesterday. If you want to check out that live stream, check out the Rock Body Shamed and Smashing Machine movie, Dissing Online Trolls Viciously. That is the title of the live stream. So, go check that out if you want to see me showing training footage of this guy. And MMA Guru, now we're going to look at MMA Guru's training with Cameron Simon. Okay? And guess what? It's only training in pads. Okay? You guys got to check this out.
Good. Then we're going to use that pivot to come back. That front side hook. So it's as if I'm walking in, closing the gap. Throw that shot. Throw. Yeah. Yep. Fine, yeah. Jab it.
Look, very basic, but it is literally the only training footage that he has, right? And I'm going to give you my true to God, honest, objective take on this matter, okay? Right now. And I'm sorry if I'm not reading the current comments right now. I'm going back to the other comments, but trust me, I'm going to get to all the comments. So MMA Guru has potential, okay? Just from what I've seen there. If we're just talking about boxing. Okay, now obviously he has the length to do so. The footwork and the stamina, I think, will be the common issue just based on the fact that he is not necessarily a seasoned trained athlete. Like, for example, you guys constantly see me on this channel doing championship round workouts, right? And even off camera, I do way more stuff than that. You guys have seen the circuits that I've done. This is a lifestyle that you have to implement in order for you to be the potential best that you can be and also fight ready at any time, bro. There's a reason why I feel like I could walk around Sacramento and smack anybody up and, you know, run up on who I want to. Of course, that is if they're not professional fighters themselves, right? In which I will have a much harder time with those exchanges. But for any average person, I'm going to feel confident because I'm doing things that they are not doing in terms of combat conditioning, whether that would be hitting the bag or sparring. And you guys may not know this, but doing things on camera actually puts me at a certain pressure where I have to not be lazy, right? Because let me tell you, off camera, most guys are just literally training like this. Now, I know there's some days where you have to go softer or you have to go slow, but the majority of guys in the gym, fitness gym and combat sports gym are either like this in the combat sports gym, right? Remember, you know, these are when the cameras are off, right? Not showing you any of the fast movements, fast twitches, head movement, and, you know, rhythm exchanges and this and that, right? The bedazzle and sazzle and all of that, right? You're looking at it and you're like, all right, you know what? Hold on, let me read some of these comments right here. Man calling Guru someone, man, that's BS. He had no idea. He called them a piece of... Okay, so here's the interesting thing I wanted to get to, right? Rampage going at his son a lot. Guys, let's not pretend that Rampage did anything, right? I understand that. But at the same time, man, let's be real. Rampage should not be scolding his son the way that he did. And Hate Love says, Rampage calls his son Raja, G-A-Y, in front of everybody. Yeah, that is a bully move to do. Fresh Melon Juice says, you should tell that to his face. Oh, bro, I want to troll so much. I got jokes on John Jones for years. Hate Love says, Bud says, I thought he was fully supporting his son. Tooth Bud says, damn, I didn't know he called him a POS. When did this happen? Maybe not too long ago, at least after this had happened. Also, Kyrie, I'm surprised we are broadcasting Guru because he's an Islamophobe. I said to that because I'm very objective and I try to get all viewpoints and try to learn even from your own enemy if you must. Toothbud says, hey, yeah, probably takes a... Oh, wow. Okay, Hate Love says, thanks, Kyrie. Actually thought he could beat Rampage. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Buddy's dad abuses him, then leaves him in the dust when it's convenient. Yeah, that's tough, isn't it? I'm going to highlight that one right there, Ja. That right there deserves to be highlighted. Wait, what? Rampage called Raja a what? It was a tranny. Oh, yeah. I don't think he thinks he can beat him, but he knows Rampage wants the fade. Okay, that's what I said. Hate Love says, you think Guru can take Rampage? Based off of that training video, maybe. But again, I think you know what? No. We saw what happened with Salt Poppy and Tony Ferguson, right? MMA Guru and Rampage would be the heavyweight version of that. And that fight was at 168. Hate Love says, no way, finally someone else says it. I always thought that. Toothbud says, the owner of the comedy club Deaf Noodles. Plus, when you look at the mannerisms, the way that he speaks, it's a bit sus. Hate Love says, I bet you it will come when I'm gone. He always... okay, yeah, look after this. Toothbud says, look, John Jones comment. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's something that Guru featured, yeah. Guru needs therapy. He actually knows comedy, but he's a failed YouTuber. I'll remember his name in a sec. Okay. For now, he's talking about how he got... Oh, wow. Toothbud says, Tooth, yes, I'm glad you know about it. Otherwise, making... Okay, so... Oh, yeah. Okay, the comedy club. Okay, yes. You guys are on and on about this comedy club. Friend Brian says, do you believe the Guru Jones video? No, obviously he's just saying that for tongue-in-cheek. A little... Okay, so... Is it Beat or Evoluev? Okay, so we caught up on that one. Let's see. Let's go all the way down. Toothbud says Guru is much bigger than Rampage, I think. Sleep him. I Show Speed would sleep Guru. Well, I Show Speed is a very young athletic kid, but I mean, there's a size difference. You have to have a little bit of size to take on, like, for example, I think I could take, obviously, I could take MMA Guru, right? You know, I'm over a little bit, just a little bit over 200 pounds, 6 feet tall. He is, I believe, 6'4". He's 6'3". He's 6'3", and yeah, you know, it would be, I'd be big enough to beat up MMA Guru, even though MMA Guru is a true heavyweight. I think at a basic skill level, size matters much less at a basic skill size level. Okay. Josh says, bro, based off the training video, you can't be serious, man. The guy threw basic crosses and hooks that looks clunky as F. Yeah. How would you beat him? You're talking to me, Marty. Okay, so if we're talking boxing, I'm going to be honest with you. The way that I would beat him in boxing is that I would have to jab him all throughout maybe a couple of rounds. And then once he gets tired, get up close, go to the body, go to the head, Mexican style. But first, I would fight him at range. And then as he starts withering down, I would fight him Mexican style so that I could probably finish him with some hooks to the head or hooks to the body. That's how I would beat him in boxing. In MMA, what I would do is I would just do a Khamzat Chimaev and shoot right away, because let's not be dishonest about this. He's a big boy. He can absolutely put anyone's lights out if you are not careful. But you have to move. You also have to stick. I'm going to do the same thing. Jab, but with the circumference of being takedown ready, right? Looking for ankle picks, looking for single legs, looking to get him close range into the cage. Once again, same thing in boxing, Mexican style, right? So get him, walk him down towards the cage and maybe work a grind or you know, some shots along the way. So yeah, Marty Miller says, give him the John Jones eye poke once he can't see. You know what? That's a good idea. Yeah, why not, right? That's what Tim Elliott said. You know, Tim Elliott said, if you're not in there trying, you know, that's just what it is. In the MMA fight that I had in Reno against, you know, Hugo Valdez, that ended up being a no contest. First, it was, you know, regarded as a stoppage. Then it was regarded later as no contest because he illegally kicked me while I was on the ground, literally similar to that of, you know, of Peter Yan and Aljo. And so I wasn't even given any type of treatment in terms of, like, you know, the referee just said, all right, go. So then later that was ruled a no contest, but nonetheless, yeah, it does happen, you know, like illegal kicks. I told my opponent in the backstage, I said, listen, you know what, this is war. I would have done the same thing you did. Straight up, that's what I told Hugo Valdez. But, you know, shout out to Hugo Valdez. He fights out of Oregon. You know, was my one and only MMA fight. He fights out of Oregon, and his coach, the same coach that coached him on that card, the same card that me and Anthony Hernandez were in, his coach, you know, had died. And then, you know, unfortunately for Hugo Valdez, you know, he, you know, never really, you know, fought after that, never really trained. So as a result, yeah, I heard that he kind of got into, you know, drugs for a little bit. But yeah, Zed said it was good. Salam, bro. Hate, love. Salam to you guys. Did you beat up the dude who kicked you after the fight to keep your... No, of course not. Because it wasn't, you know, under anything like that. You know, that has, you know, nothing to do with that. And, you know, and really, sport is different than, you know, than other... topics of hand of beef when you are dealing with different types of humans. You know, this man was an athlete. I'm an athlete. You know, well, at least he was an athlete at the time. But that's, you know, that's the reality of, you know, of combat. But yes, you can use illegal tactics. You know, if you're not trying, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, according to Tim Elliott, and you know, it's war by the end of the day. So that's that. Guru is a fool. Yes. So Josh says a circle, him just jab, wait for him to throw, jab, come over the top, and then drop him with the right hand. Yes. So what else? Fingers crossed racing. Shout out to you. Toothbud says, but of course he's a total beginner. Daniel looked like a fish out of water. Oh, yeah. When we were talking about Daniel yesterday, wow, Guru is the next Brock Lesnar. For sure, he has potential. Those are fixable problems. That's true, right? You know, that's why MMA Guru is a big, you know, Welsh kid. You know what I'm saying? So he has, you know, certain genetic factors that can, you know, help him acclimated to, you know, combat sports, you know, rather quickly. So, you know, I'm not gonna deny that, right? Like, so, bro drops his hand 50% of the time when he jabs. Who is that you're talking about? Kyrie doesn't want the smoke. Guru. Oh, yeah, right. Guru doesn't look decent on the pads. Kyrie, I watched your live, and when you uploaded it, it was fun. Marty, yeah, that was the cherry on top. Why fresh? The crazy thing is Daniel asked him for it to be shown. Yeah, that's the thing, right? That was crazy. Yeah, Guru's pad clips are much better than Daniel's. There you go, for sure. Man, MMA Guru would absolutely smash Daniel for sure. You know, that's the truth. I actually got to talk with that guy yesterday. He called me, right? You know, while on private, and you know, he said that he was sorry or this and that, and I told him and he said that if there's anything you want to say better, it's in private, and I said, all right, that's what it is. Hey, look, guys, understand this, right? By the end of the day, Daniel is a Muslim, right? So I'm just going to be honest about it. Our beef is going to be different than the type of beef I would have with just some, you know, random person in the street that doesn't share, you know, any ideological understandings with me. And that's just, you know, how it is. That's how the world works. And, you know, I give it to you guys raw, honest, and objective. But also, while being honest, raw, and objective, giving you a disclaimer of understanding where my biasness lies at, because we all have biasness in our own way, unless you're Switzerland, and even with that, their biasness is the idea that, hey, we are the most objective country in the world in terms of neutrality. But yeah, you will love Casio. Okay, so wow, Kyrie, I did not see it like that. Yeah, you're gonna try give him no attention. Fresh Andrew says, in the CIA, we have our own self-defense system. We call it operational defense. Okay, Toothbud says the accent news anchors have. Josh says, I want to see iShow Speed versus Guru. The typical accent. It's like the American okay, so we went up there, hitting the bottle again. Okay, so, okay, let's see here. Hate Love says, Marty, I'm with you on this. 265 is the only way for Eddie, in my opinion. What does he weigh now, Marty? You reacted to JBL and Doug podcast that came out earlier. No, I got to check that out. JBL and Doug podcast. He talks like he's the next John Jones, but outweighs everyone by 100 pounds. Okay. Okay, so Eddie Hall should get down to 265. Okay, chat, please like, sub, and it's free. Shout out to you, Kyrie. Replay the clip. Watch MMA Gurus right closely when it jabs and it mentions a complete lack of footwork. Okay, plotting. Yes, MMA Guru is a fool. Zed, Kyrie showed us a clip. MMA Guru thinks he can take Rampage. Did you beat up the dude? Oh, okay, so we are now caught up to that. So I think Eddie is like 340. Yeah, man, Eddie Hall, bro, yeah, he needs to lose a little bit of some weight, and I think that if he doesn't, if he doesn't lose weight, he's not gonna have a lot of options of guys that are gonna want to fight him. You get what I mean? Like, a lot of guys are not gonna want to fight him if he doesn't cut down to 265. At least not the big names, right? You know, so if you just want to continue on and fight freak show fights for the rest of your career, that is on you, and that is your choice. Zed says Eddie Hall is way too big, and cutting to 265 won't be the death of him. Laughing my ass off. Okay, so let me read let me just to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Okay, so MMA Guru could face a lawsuit against Rampage Jackson and might actually go to prison for attacking Stu Smith, right? So at first, I really thought that Raja will be free. However, this recent interview that we saw with Doug Malo sort of made me rethink, right? That because Doug Malo admitted that he has been talking to the LAPD and they said that something might happen, but everybody in the chat was saying that the LAPD is notoriously slow in the way that they approach cases, right? So what those detectives had to say convinced me that perhaps Raja might be charged, and these were the details we talked about. Also, Rampage's PR team responded to Rampage's social media post. Okay, so as we dig into the chronicles of Raja Jackson, right? Still no arrest. Now it's a little bit more convincing he could be arrested. Yeah, it's the LAPD. They barely do their jobs. See, I don't know if that is just the narrative, or I don't know, man. I feel like, you know what? They are probably understaffed. They are understaffed, right? People talk about defunding the police, but in reality, they are absolutely defunded to, you know, the highest order. Okay, so I think that's about it that I have right now, guys. I'm gonna head out. It's been real doing this live stream with you guys. I really enjoy these live streams, the interactions that we get, the ideas and the exchanges that we put together. It is absolutely positive. And on top of that, I want to thank everybody in the chat for making the channel great. Because remember, a channel is only as great as its followers, right? Obviously, as the YouTubers, we bring the talent, we bring the charisma, we bring the attraction to the news, to the content in which that we bring. But at the same time, it is the audience that has to choose to accept that based on their own interest, based on their own yearning of curiosity, based on their own self-education of understanding the world from a different perspective, or a perspective that is similar to theirs. He says, take it easy, Kyrie. You as well, my man. Hate Love says, thank you, Kyrie, for this live. Hope to see you soon. For sure, man. Hope to see you guys soon as well. And of course, it won't be the last time, and it won't be the first time, but every time will be the extra ordinary time, right? Extraordinary time as always. And Toothbud, see you as well. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, share, come and join the members section only, because I'm going to give you raw and crazy content that nobody in the world will talk about in mainstream YouTube. So for one of the things that I'm going to talk about is, in the member stream, controversial political topics and controversial takes and worldviews that may shock you. See you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe and to join the members only. Because Zed says, take care, brother. Salam. Salam alaikum, my man. Have a good one.